Matthew Pearson. I was born and raised in Wichita, Kansas. Graduated from Heights High in 2008 and finished up college at Kansas State in 2012. Right now, I am a supervisor at Spirit, and I've been out there for 6.5 years. And I have one beautiful daughter. Her name is Addison Rose Pearson, and she's the love of my life.
That's amazing. So what do you enjoy most about being a dad?
The thing I enjoy most, especially right now, is when I go see her. And every single time, like when she sees me, her face lights up. And no matter what kind of day I'm having, that right there does it for me. I'm just like, okay, I'm good now. And I got my baby. So that, and she's an outdoor girl. She likes being outdoors, which works for me because not a lot of people know that we have a farm. So I take her out there and she gets to run around and we get our bonding time, our serious bonding time out there. And it means the world to me. And I know she enjoys it too.
That's awesome. How old is
That
she?
is awesome.
She is 1.5 years now. She'll be 2 in November. Time is flying.
Yeah.
It is flying. And she's beautiful, Matthew. She's
I
beautiful.
appreciate it. Yes, she is. She's beautiful, but she got my attitude. So I have to I have to make sure, that we stay on top of her and that we are on the same page when we're raising her so she won't, be a bad person. But she has a beautiful spirit. Her wheels are always turning. She's always interested in what's going on around her. And, I can't get enough of it. I love it.
Oh, so Matthew, as a new dad, what words of encouragement could you give to new fathers or just fathers in general?
Let's see. Even, when times get rough, it might be some disputes going on with you and the mama, or it might be any kind of circumstances. It might be monetary. It might be anything. Just remember to always put the kid first. And for encouragement, I would say, just look into that kid's eyes. That's what I got. That's what I do. I look into her eyes, and then that puts me on course because it takes away any other distractions. I'm not worried about what she got going on, if it's good or bad, and I'm not worried about what I got going on. It's all about that child, and that becomes my primary focus. And a lot of times that keeps me motivated when I'm feeling down and out about anything, really, just because I know I can't give up because it's not about me anymore. So that's what encourages me, and it just, give me that drive to keep going.
Awesome. So, Matthew, we know you for, I feel like we go way back.
Oh,
I don't want to count the years.
Yeah.
I don't want to count them. I feel too old. But I think I know maybe parts of this question or answer to this question, but what factors, if you can tell us, what factors played a role in you becoming the man you are today?
My parents. That's the number one factor. It's definitely my parents. I could talk about them all day. We never, I didn't ever grow up with everything. I didn't know we didn't have a lot of money until I got older, but I respect my parents for that. I never seen them argue or fight in front of me. They always been great examples. My dad, we didn't really have too many summer vacations where we weren't doing anything. He'd wake us up, he'd get us up in the morning, we'd go out to the farm, we'd get some work done. After all that was done, then we could go on the house, and when we did get to the house, Mama was in there. She had to make sure we were taking care of all our chores and not trying to be, stereotypical or sexist or anything, but she was always cooking and cleaning and stuff like that. And she taught us how to do that in a way that made everything, clean and organized. And she just instilled those principles into us. And I can't thank them enough. Is definitely my parents. They've been a great example for all of us. And we benefit from that tremendously.
Well, I was going to say, Matthew, that you've had this great example. And with having that great example, what does your life look like as a father? Like, are you a single dad? Are you in a relationship? Or are you married? What?
Well, I'm a single dad right now. We decided to co-parent. And I think that's working out really well because, like I said earlier, we make it all about the child. We decided to do that right off the rip. There was nothing that was going to get in our way of taking care of the child. So, like I said, whatever disputes that we had, it did not matter when it came to Addison, because she was the topic of discussion. There wasn't too much else to talk about but her and her well-being. So, of course, we're friends. It's not a bad relationship by any means at all. We work well together, and I hope the best for any other relationships that are similar to mine as far as co-parenting goes. But yeah, she does a great job, and I appreciate that, and I make sure that she knows that. I appreciate what she does for my daughter, and I play my role as well. I try to pick up any slack where I can, just so we could give her the life that maybe we didn't have. Not saying that, like I said, our childhood were bad or anything, but we want to give her as much as possible without trying to spoil her. But I think it's kind of too late for that.
Yeah,
She's definitely spoiled, and she got me wrapped around her finger.
That's awesome. So I'm gonna throw this one in here. As being a quote unquote girl dad, how is that, I guess, kind of changed you a little bit, being a girl dad?
It made me a lot softer than I originally am. It makes me think about a lot of my decisions. I can't go out here doing whatever I want anymore, or doing anything that's reckless at all. Any decisions that I make, I have to think about her. She's included in everything. So it definitely has calmed me down, made me more mature than what I used to be, even though I don't feel like I was ever that terrible, but there's always growing to do. So I definitely appreciate that. And I just, I really enjoy being a father. It's an indescribable feeling. I was very, very nervous, especially, the time when she was being born and everything. I didn't realize how nervous I was until after she was born, because I passed out for 2 days, and then, and then I was finally able to gather myself and then get back with the program. But yeah, it wore me out. But ever since then, we just kind of hit the ground running, and trying to do the best we can to make sure that she has the most successful life that we can give her.
That's amazing. So what about some of your fears as being a new dad, and she's growing and changing on a daily basis, especially
Yes.
the climate in which we're living in now? What are some of your fears that you have as being a dad and raising your child?
Uh, my fears, especially with having, you know, such a beautiful daughter as I do, I'm bragging a little bit, is, just her well-being, because there's a lot of crazy folks going around. And I realize how much I don't trust people when, I have my daughter. I always try to keep an eye on her, because you never know what happened. And I fear that, something bad could potentially happen to her, but we don't go around walking around like that. Another fear of mine is that, I don't, live up to, I guess, her expectations. I guess I'm kind of thinking far along, and I don't want her to ever fall out of love with me for anything that I do, especially as far as discipline and, providing structure in her life. I hope that she doesn't take it the wrong way. I know eventually she'll probably understand, but I hope, when she does go through her phases, that she doesn't forget that I do love her, and I'm for her well-being. That's my biggest fear right there. But I think through it all, she'll eventually understand, and that'll make us that much closer. But I just, I got to get her to the point to where she can understand life at the scale that we do at around 30, or at least I'm around 30. If that makes sense.
That makes perfectly good sense, Matthew. So, as a man and a first-time father and a dad of a girl, when things get tough, sometimes, like, what do you do? Who do you have a support system? What do you do?
When things get tough for me, I usually talk to my parents, because they have been my support system throughout all my life. They never steered me in a way to make me do something, that they think I should do. They left it completely open to me. My dad was usually He'd tell me what he thought was best, or tell me what I should or should not do, and then he'd leave the rest up to me. And I would make those decisions, and he'll either say, I told you so, or you got lucky you made it, or good you didn't do that this time. But but yeah, that's my support system. And definitely my mom too. I can't leave her out. I call her all the time. You know, we are each other's strength. You know, I was blessed to have that relationship with both my parents like I do. And that plays a major factor in my success and how I am right now, and how I want my daughter and I's relationship to be as she gets older.
That's amazing. So we just have a few more questions. So this one is, what role does God play in your life as a man, as a father, a son, even a brother? What role does he play in your life for you?
God, to me, he's proven several times that he's been a keeper. You know, through anything that I've been through, he's always been by my side. And anything I put my whole heart to, I've been successful at because of him. I may have not gone to places, you know, I think I should have gotten, but at the end of the day, I realized that, you know, that wasn't for me. And every day that I live, you know, I wake up and I ask for that guidance, because you never know what could happen. And, you know, I'm not going to say I do it every day, because sometimes I forget or I get busy. And, you know, that's something I need to work on. But I definitely ask for that guidance. And, and I mean this, you know, for real. Anything I put my heart in, he's always been there for me and helping me be successful at it. Because even just like for my job example, I started, you know, from the ground up. I was working for a temp agency. You know, I put my dreams out there. I was like, man, one day I want to run a company. And right now, I didn't feel like moving out of Kansas. I just got out of college. So I said, I'm going to start at Spirit and see if I can get in there. And I was, like I said, I was working for a temp agency first. And then I got in through that. That took a year. And then once I got on the Spirit, I worked there on the floor for 2 or 3 years. And then got into a supervisor position, and have been accelerating my career ever since. So he's definitely, and he's been there every step of the way. And I definitely appreciate it. And that's another thing, going back to my parents. You know, I'm going to bring them up as many times as I have to, because they made sure that I knew if I wanted to be successful, that that's what I had to do. So I tip my hat to them. They did an amazing job, and it definitely has made life easier for me than I see what, you know, other folks have to go through. So, you know, I'm forever grateful.
Oh, Matthew, you are really an amazing man. You really are. And our hats are off to you for being such a wonderful man. You mentioned earlier that you co-parent with your child's mom, and you know, everybody's not able to co-parent. Some people are single, and they don't have that option or luxury. So what advice maybe could you give to, we know that you have a daughter, but you're a man. So what advice could you give to moms that are raising sons on their own?
Well, sometimes we can be hard headed. So I would say, you know, be as patient as you can, and try to see things from our point of view, as difficult as that might be. Um, I would advise, if you have like a father or brother or any kind of male friends that you can trust, I would definitely talk to them about it, and, you know, try to get that perspective. But I think it's all about being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes. I think if we can do that, then we could kind of understand where they're coming from with certain things. But if you have somebody who is just, you know, out of control and don't want to act right at all, then you know, I'm kind of lost for words on that one. You just have to ask for that guidance. That's what I would do. You know, pray about it and try to be strong. Try to do what you think is best, you know, for that child. If that other person, you know, doesn't feel the same way as you do, as far as making that child a priority.
That's awesome. Well, Matthew, like Breezy said, I have known you for pretty much all our lives, I feel like. And like I said, it is amazing to see like the works of your parents and the fruition and the words they spoke to you and Sarah and Leah. Like I love your family. You guys are so amazing. And I knew having you on here, we knew having you on here would be it would be really good. My heart smiles, like literally it's like, oh my God, look at you. Like I haven't talked to you in a while, but I just see it, like the joy your daughter brings to you. Like it is like literally lighting up your face, and it's beautiful to see. Like I said, hats off to you that you're able to co-parent the way that you do, and put your child first, because like Breezy said, we not everybody has that luxury. Not everyone has that great relationship. So keep doing what you guys are doing, because it's going to show so much in your daughter. And like I said, it's amazing to really just see you and all the hard work that you put in and just becoming the person that you've become. And so keep doing you. The last question that we have just refers to our blog. Our blog stands for, or is BFF, we're best friends, and it stands for Boldly, Freely, and Faithfully Living. So we want to know, how do you live boldly, freely, and faithfully through Christ?
Boldly, freely, and faithfully through Christ. I feel like for me is being who I am. I feel like I don't have to go out here and pretend to be anybody else, because I wasn't raised to be anybody else but me. So, and that's what I'm good at. So I feel like I can go to any environment, be myself, and get by, at least, just because I don't feel like I have to fit in anywhere. I can have a good time by myself. I'm a one-man party. That's how I like to look at it. And I try not to let outside factors influence some of my decisions that could affect anything that I have going for me in the long run. If I make a decision about something, I want it to be something I consciously decided to do. So that's how I feel like I live boldly, through confidence. I don't have to worry about anything, just because I know I'm gonna be myself at the end of the day. I don't try to be nobody else. I have some great examples. So it's nothing me. They set it all up for me. They laid the path, and they said, here, you can walk this like we set up for you, or you could, go do your own thing. And I was like, well, y'all got stones in place already, so I might as well,
Yeah, they walked this path and forged it for you. And many of us, we bump our heads so many times. We're like, dang, I should have listened. And with you doing that and you listening, like God has been able to truly bless you and keep you. And okay. So my other question, when you were speaking about boldly living and being able to operate in just confidence and knowing who you are, how do you do that? Like, when did that happen for you? Has that always been the case, or was that something that eventually you got along the way? Did you happen to stumble upon it in your early 30s? Like, when did that happen for you, that you could step into that confidence?
I believe it started happening the most when I was in college, because at first I went to JUCO. So I went to Hutch, and I was a little uneasy because it was the first time being out on my own. I'm 18 years old, and I have all these decisions to make. Should I take out loans for this? Should I do that? Stuff I'm gonna have to pay for in the long run. And even back then, my parents instilled in me to listen. So I would be thinking about the stuff like, man, should I do this? And how would it affect me in the long run? Will I regret making these decisions? And then I had to teach myself at the time that any decision that I made at that point in time, I made for a specific reason. So I wouldn't grow up regretting anything, because I was obviously going through whatever I was going through at that time. So as I progressed, that made me more confident, because I was able to make those decisions on my own. And I knew I had God on my side, because I had favor with him, because how I respected my parents. And that, I think people downplay that a lot, because, we went to New Zion, and Pastor Williams used to preach on that all the time. Respect your parents, respect your parents. And it was easy for me, because when I didn't, my dad would go out to the switch tree, and handle it. But it was definitely a blessing. I appreciate everything. And I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. So definitely did wonderful things to my confidence, and their support as well. Support from my brothers and sisters, all of my family. You know, we are very tight, and that is my go-to support system, and that's where all my confidence comes from. I feel like if they believe in me, then you know I can do anything, and so far I have done anything that I put my mind to. So
So,
I'm trying.
thank
I'm
you
doing my
so
best.
much for
Yeah, thank you,
taking time
Matthew.
with us. We really appreciate it
No,
too.
no
So,
problem. I appreciate the opportunity.
yeah.
Keep being an example.
Yeah, keep being exactly who you are, walking in that confidence, regardless who like it, who don't like it, because I'm telling you,
I don't got time for that.
yeah, who cares? Like you said, you definitely have favor in God. Like you can just, like I said, you can hear it in your voice, you can see it on you, so you know it's a real thing.